TikTok doctor Matthew Lani has been arrested. He was apprehended last night at the Helen Joseph Hospital here in Johannesburg. The bogus doc rose to prominence on various social media channels, dishing out medical advice without a license. He even tried to claim he had a medical degree from Wits University and was registered with the Health Professions Council of South Africa, both institutions saying he was lying. Now, Lani is expected to appear before the Johannesburg Magistrates Court tomorrow on a charge of impersonating medical personnel and other charges. eNCA reporter Pulele Jones has spoken to his lawyer this afternoon, so we've got the full story. Pulele joins me in studio. Thank you so much. So, talk to me about the charges that he's facing and whether there's at this stage any evidence that shows he actually could be a doctor.
Yeah, definitely. As far as we understand, this thing started obviously on Friday, where we know that Dr. Lani was at the Helen Joseph's hospital taking videos as well. Staff members spotted him through CCTV footage and they were told to be on the lookout. On Sunday evening, he returned again, where he was apprehended by the security guards, and then he tried to escape, and that's where we saw the video that's now gone viral, where he was being questioned, and he was asked whether the medical stethoscope belonged to him as well, and he denies that as well. So it seems as though this has been a building up, as a result of what we've seen on social media, the controversy around where he obtained his medical qualification, the Wits University institution coming out to say they do not have any records of this, they distanced themselves from him, and that he should retract his claim as well. We've seen that the Health Professional Council for South Africa has come out to say they don't have any medical records of him as well. But as far as we understand, there are two cases that have been opened, one by the Department of Health at the Brixton Police Station and one by a young lady called Dr. Sanele Zingelwa, who registered against him. She said that she was being impersonated. She's a second-year medical intern at the Tembisa Provincial Tertiary Hospital, and she registered a case of identity fraud against Lani at the local police station. Now, this charge has now been looked into by the Hawks. The SAPS executed the arrest, but they handed over the docket to the Hawks, who are now furthering the investigation. And what we are being told is that we could see more charges being added as well. At the moment,
so what do we got? Identity theft for that intern who he allegedly impersonated and impersonating a doctor? Just those two?
Yeah, well, at the moment we only have one charge, of course, impersonating a doctor, but two cases that have been opened as well. The investigations are still continuing, but quite confidently coming from the lawyer representing Bongani Matthew Lani, who, by the way, is his real full name, saying that they want to see facts, they want to see evidence at the table, and therefore, if there isn't any facts, they believe that the charges won't stick. So it will be up to the Hawks to present, formidable evidence that the state can use in court tomorrow against Lani.
Let's have a listen.
Like I said, we're dealing with facts. If someone comes before the police and present evidence that he has paid Bongani any amount of money to consult with him, or if ever someone will come and say that he used his medical qualifications pretending to be a doctor, then he will have a case to answer to. But as far as concerned, there's nothing of that sort.
All right, so am I right that he's basically saying he was essentially pretending to be a doctor on social media? And let's face it, people pretend things on social media all the time. At what point does pretense become an outright lie and an attempt to fool someone?
I think one must extensively highlight that impersonating is a crime. As you can't go and impersonate to be a medical doctor or police official. It is a criminal offence if investigated.
However, there's a different, could you not argue, well, this person was just dressing up, pretending. I mean, if I dressed up as a doctor and went to a fancy dress party, I wouldn't get arrested for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to
Doesn't it boil down, I think what his lawyer is saying, it boils down to whether he tried to open a practice and dispense scripts and medicine.
There are allegations out there to say he was, of course, selling supplements to people.
But you can sell supplements without a doctor's degree.
Prescribing as well, medical prescription without a license to be a doctor could be a criminal offence as well. There's a fine line here, and this is the reason why the Health Practitioner Council of South Africa also came out to say that what he was doing is wrong. The Department of Health as well in Gauteng said that you cannot practice if you don't have the correct license to be a doctor as well. And this is where, if the Hawks can investigate thoroughly, could have a tight case against him as well.
If someone comes forward and says that he treated me and he told me he was a doctor and he prescribed this, that would be definitely a blow against him, because I think I listened to the live you were doing with the lawyer, and he was sort of saying, well, you know, social media doesn't mean that he was impersonating.
I think we also would have to refer to this case that has been opened by Dr. Zingela as well, who says who says that you know, Mr. Lani, of course, was using her identity to pretend as though he's a doctor as well. That's something that I think would actually be quite, you know, challenging for the lawyer as well to argue against. And when I spoke to some of the sources from the Hawks as well, they were saying that, look, they are building quite a good case here, and there is reason to believe that he was pretending to be a doctor, having name tags, you know, prescribing, advising, things that a normal doctor would do. And I think that now that this case has been opened, we will be able to see tomorrow in court as to whether their argument as a state will stand and stick as well. But the lawyer representing Dr. Lani, of course, or the bogus doctor,
Mr. Lani, perhaps we should stop calling him.
Yeah,
until he proves otherwise.
You know, has made it quite clear that they believe that he will walk and that he will be granted bail until there can be really such tangible, sufficient evidence that can stick and that he can answer to if there is any. But also, quite importantly, I did ask about how he's feeling, and the lawyer did say that apart from being called in the prison cells, he was quite confident that he's done nothing wrong, still maintains that he's done nothing wrong. But also there's an element of where his family is as well. We understand that he lives with his friends in an apartment in Johannesburg. It seems as though his father passed on. His father was from the Eastern Cape, but his mom is in the Northwest, and they're still trying to get hold of her just to tell about what has happened.
How old is Matthew Lani?
27.
Okay.
27, yeah. And as far as you understand, he didn't complete his matric as well. So it's just a lot that has been questioned about his character. And one would think that despite the controversy around his TikTok videos, he would stop as well. But this is what we saw happening on Sunday.
Yeah, and you know, not everything he did was on social media. You know, you could possibly make a case that, well, people lie all the time on social media, and they absolutely do. They give out unwarranted advice. They say this is bad for you, that's bad for you, and they don't necessarily have the facts to prove their case. But this is a man who also has appeared on radio stations calling himself a doctor, I think. Yeah,
definitely. I think he was on 702 recently. There was a podcast that was posted on social media, again, calling himself a doctor. But there was also that issue around where did you obtain your medical qualification from?
Yeah, so it looks pretty damning, but it's going to be very interesting. And you asked the lawyer how he was feeling. Let's take a listen.
He's calm, he's relaxed, he's confident that he hasn't done anything. He's just worried that obviously it's in the public space, everybody knows about that. But other than that, he's looking forward to the case. He knows very well that he hasn't done anything whatsoever that is wrong that will link him to these allegations.
Have you reached out to his family?
Not as yet. However, I do have instructions to communicate with his family to alert them as to what is happening currently.
Do we know where they are?
They are in the Northwest as far as my instructions are concerned. He's originally from the Northwest, but obviously his other family is in the Eastern Cape as far as my instructions are concerned.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. He appears in court tomorrow. I'm sure you'll be there, and we will be talking to you tomorrow. Perhaps we'll find out who the real Matthew Lani is tomorrow. Thank you so much, Pulele Chwiti Jones. Now let's